Over the past 5 videos, we've explored ratio analysis across 5 key areas: operating performance, operating efficiency, liquidity, financial structure, and investment performance. Today, I'm wrapping it all up with the 5 essential ratios that every manufacturing and service business should track on a day-to-day basis to stay on top of their performance. Now, the first ratio is revenue growth. And this asks the question, are we moving in the right direction? This is the simplest but most important indicator of momentum. It tells us whether the business is winning more customers, selling more product, expanding its market reach. It also informs the cost structure for the organisation. Even small shifts in revenue growth can signal big changes ahead. The second ratio is gross margin. And this asks, are we making enough money on what we sell? Now, gross margin shows the strength of the core business model. It helps us understand whether pricing, discounting, or input costs are under control. A sliding gross margin is a warning sign that something operational needs attention. And given this is where the majority of most businesses' cost lies, it's a very, very key ratio. So the third ratio, another profitability measure, EBIT margin. How efficiently are we running the whole business is the question this one asks. Now, while gross margin focuses on product and service performance, EBIT affects the whole organisation. The cost, the discipline, the overheads, and the scale. It is the clearest single view of overall operating performance, and therefore, what are we contributing to the bottom line? Now, the fourth ratio, return on capital employed. And this measures, are we generating a return on the capital that is invested? Return on capital employed ties everything together. It measures how effectively management is using the business's assets to generate profit. And a high return on capital employed means strong execution. Whereas falling ROCE signals that capital is tied up without producing enough return, and it may signal poor working capital management. Now, the fifth and final ratio of this summary is that of free cash flow. And this asks the question, are we converting our profit into cash? And to be honest, this is my key ratio. Profit is important, but cash pays the bills. Free cash flow shows whether the business can fund growth, reduce debt, or return value to its shareholders and owners. It's the most practical measure of long-term financial health. So to wrap up, across the areas we've covered, performance, efficiency, liquidity, structure, and investment, these 5 ratios give any business a clear, simple dashboard. Revenue growth equals our momentum. Our gross margin looks at the product economics. The EBIT margin, the operational discipline. Return on capital employed, given us our return on capital. And free cash flow, our sustainability. If you track these consistently, you'll have a strong handle on the financial pulse of your business. Now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. If you're interested in learning more about financial statement analysis, have a look at the online course which is included in the comments below. It will take you through some of the steps we've covered off here, the introduction to the financial statement analysis, and through that we'll give you also a summary of Smart Retail's financial statements so that you can work through those numbers and go through the calculations. It will also go through each of the steps, the operating performance, profitability, and bring through a real world example. So we'll have a look at the real company and see how this translates in the real world. And it will also be supported by short activities at the end of each section so that you can test your knowledge and make sure you've got a good thorough understanding. Now, each of these steps and that we'll work through on the course will be supported by short little videos like what you've seen in this particular video. And at the end, it will also come down to a summary section to summarise what does it all mean, how do we use it, and what other information do we need to consider.